Good day. Welcome to the second week of the Corporate Social Responsibility class. I'm Professor Kwesi Daniels, and it is again my honor to share the knowledge that I have gained through the years about CSR. This session, we will discuss last week's class, some of the pluses and minuses of last week's class, and then we will talk about the upcoming week and content that will be covered. So last week we started with introductions. I introduced myself and you introduced yourself to me. And I have to tell you, it was really great getting to know everybody. We have a lot of students in different parts of the country and in different parts of the world, from as far as Hong Kong and Afghanistan to as local as Florida to me, in New York City and New Jersey. It's just been great getting to know everybody online and to see everyone's different interests. I mean, think about it. We have some people that have recently graduated. I mean, congratulations, guys. The fact that you have been able to navigate your undergraduate years and complete your degree, that is really applaudable. So I wanted to say it's an honor for me to be able to teach you in the last class for some of you of your undergraduate careers. And what I always hope is that the feedback that you'll get from this class will also take you on some new paths, some new avenues that will open up that you may not have known about prior to this. And so one of the things I really want you to pay attention to, especially in the forums, because in the forums we get a chance to have a real one-on-one dialogue with one another about the things that are of interest to us. And so you get a chance to tell me a lot about yourself, and in the process I get to tailor my feedback to your interests. So for example, we have some individuals who are interested in real estate. A couple of students are interested in real estate. And so I did and will continue to provide feedback related to the role that CSR and sustainability play within the real estate industry. As a trained architect, I can definitely tell you, I speak from a lot of experience about this really significant impact that corporate social responsibility and CSR can play towards reducing the carbon footprint of housing and businesses and just the entire real estate industry. It is known as a huge contributor to our carbon footprint. So there are a lot of different ways that you can explore reducing your impact on the environment and being better stewards of the environment and being more responsible socially. We will cover a lot of this as we continue to go. Just wanted to highlight the importance of paying attention to the feedback that I give you in the forum as I'll be connecting it with your interest. We also have some people who are interested in fashion. There's an area called fast fashion. For those in real estate, if you're not aware of LEED, which is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, definitely encourage you to check that out. And for those who, if you're not familiar with Energy Star for buildings, check that out as well. Net Zero and Passive House, those are all different rating systems that you can pursue in order to become a better steward of the environment and be more responsible. For those who are interested in fashion, you can also look at fast fashion. It is an area that is growing as people begin to realize that the way that we buy our clothes and the manufacturing of clothes to produce clothing very quickly is particularly problematic. And so check out fast fashion. We will continue to speak about other ways that you can be socially responsible within your everyday lives and as a company in order to be better stewards of the environment. So last week's conversation was all about the why of CSR. Everyone had a chance to watch the Story of Stuff. I love that particular film because it gives you a really strong understanding of the consumer mentality that has been developed within the United States and through capitalism. The idea that it is important for you to consume. That is one of the biggest ways that we have become a waste a high waste generating society. And with that, you also had a chance to see there's a term called planned obsolescence. If you have a cell phone like I have a cell phone, then you've experienced how after a set period of time, your cell phone can begin to break down on you. Vehicles and other items, clothing, a lot of things are actually begin to be planned to become obsolete. It is by design so that you can buy it more regularly. This is good for business, but it's not good when it comes to the environment. It's not good when we consider the amount of embodied energy that is embedded in the different items that we purchase. And so I hope your takeaway from the story of stuff is the ways that we can be better stewards of our environment. The next one we looked at was about capitalism, and that talked about all of the ways that capitalism has grown, the corporation, how the idea of the corporation has grown through the years from the 13th Amendment, which was used to free the enslaved people of America, and how it was used in America to create the entity of the corporation, and that more lawsuits were taken out in order to give more validity to the institution or the body of a corporation as an entity than it was for formerly enslaved persons in their attempt to gain their own rights. And through the process of providing a basis for a corporation to exist, there were a number of things that have transpired through the years that have created this entity that has a mind of its own. And so when we talk about the role of the corporation, particularly from the CSR standpoint, we have to keep in mind that a corporation has a responsibility. Its responsibility is to its stakeholders. And if it is not meeting that responsibility, particularly its fiduciary responsibility in assuring that it's generating profits, then it can be liable. Its board of directors, those that are in charge, can be liable to their stakeholders for the stockholders for failing to meet their fiduciary responsibility to them, which is to increase their yield to their stockholders. And so the video on the corporation is also a very good one in helping us understand how a corporation developed, particularly in America, so that you can begin to understand how we do the work that we do and the why. As we go forward this week, we will be looking at life cycle analysis. Life cycle analysis is looking at the full lifespan of a product from its inception, which is when it was born, through its use, to its death, and when you put it away. The life cycle analysis is a key element of corporate social responsibility because it provides an analytical framework that you can begin to look at ways to save energy. You can look at ways to increase your ability to respond to workers' rights and to address the needs of workers at different components along that life cycle. And you can also find ways to save money. And as we've mentioned, corporate social responsibility, it is a part of this overall term called sustainability. Sustainability is generally three circles. There is the social circle, the economic circle, and the environmental circle. And those three circles, at the intersection of them, is where corporate social responsibility lies underneath sustainability. And so we'll talk about the life cycle analysis and the elements that go into generating a life cycle analysis. The last thing I want everyone to pay attention to is the content regarding the midterm. That has been posted. Please read through it. Send me any feedback that you have, any questions you may have about the midterm, so I can answer them in due time. Okay? And so before we go, as I mentioned, each session I would like to feature a different chair that my students have generated. And so the one I'm sitting in right now, this is a chair that was made of shipping containers. That's right, shipping containers. Excuse me, shipping pallets. So the wood was pulled out of the shipping pallet, and it was surfaced, and it was painted. It was stained after it was sanded down, and so the frame is made of shipping pallets. The seat, for all of our wine drinkers, you would be very familiar with this right here. It's a cork. And so this student, his name was Nino Chambers. The chair I featured last week, which was made out of cardboard, was designed by one of my other students named Kayla Hurd. And so this is wine cork that was taped together with a clear duct tape. And then there were plastic bags which were weaved together into a thread, and that was used to bind the different wine corks. And so it created a really soft seat for the chair. And so this chair was designed, as I mentioned, this is the shipping pallet chair. It's pretty lightweight, pretty well made, pretty sturdy. As you saw, I was able to sit in it with no issues. And this chair has been on display a few times recently as a demonstration of the ways that you can reduce your carbon footprint. As I mentioned, we'll be talking about life cycle analysis, and there's what's generally known as cradle to grave, when you do what's called upcycling, and you take old waste material and you find uses for it. That is called cradle to cradle. And that's taking a product, in this case, shipping pallets, cork, and plastic bags. These items were considered waste material. However, rather than sending them to the landfill, we found a new use for it. And so the cradle to cradle idea says that you go from its initial use to the period where it's outlived its usefulness, and then you generate a new use for it. And so this is the shipping pallet chair. It's a pleasure to present it to you as another idea of ways that you can be socially responsible with materials that you see every single day. So with that, I bid you farewell, and I will see you on the forum this week.